Hi everyone, my name is Susie Q and I am the owner and maker of Glitter with Susie Q. If you like the content that you're seeing, please like, subscribe, and share. You can also connect with me by Facebook, Instagram, and email. Today we're going to be making this envelope vinyl tumbler. It is a relatively easy project to complete, and it is easily to mass produce. So if you need to make a really quick gift for somebody, or if you have a craft show coming up and you need to make a lot of tumblers that are easy to make and that will sell really well, this is definitely the kind of tumbler that you want to make. Stay tuned and you will learn how to make it. I decided to use this beautiful vinyl by Zindy.com. The name of this vinyl is called Lovely Bees No. 3. The link is in the description below if you're interested in purchasing this vinyl. I'm starting off by cutting off all the white edges from this vinyl. I am now going to take this vinyl and I'm going to cut it into a 9x9 square. I then need to cut off this last little bit of white that is showing so that it doesn't come across on my cup. But I grab my cup and I am starting to wrap my vinyl around the cup. And I very, very quickly realized that this piece of vinyl is too big and it's not laying correctly on my tumbler. So I grab my paper trimmer again and I am going to cut off 1 inch from either side in order to make this an 8x8 square. Even after making an 8x8 square, I don't think that it wraps around my tumbler quite correctly. So if you know what I did wrong, will you please comment below to let me know how to actually cut my vinyl to make it look even and perfect on my tumbler. Here I am marking off on the vinyl where I want to make sure that the top and the bottom of the tumbler hit on the vinyl, so that way it lines up of what I think is correct on the tumbler. I then peel away a small edge of the vinyl and I cut it, and then I reattach that backing sheet just so that a small amount of the sticky part of the vinyl is exposed. This way I can put my vinyl down, make sure it's lined up correctly before I start wrapping it around my vinyl. Once I have it positioned correctly on my vinyl, I will then take off that small triangle and lay down the vinyl from there first and then wrap it around the rest of my tumbler. I'm going to go really, really slow when I do this to ensure that there are no bubbles in my vinyl and to make sure that my vinyl attaches to my tumbler correctly. So when I do this, I just use my fingers to push down that vinyl, and I use the hinge method. So I am taking a small piece, I am adhering it down to the vinyl, and then I slowly take that backing off by the pressure of my fingers just by rolling it around the cup. It will then come off of the backing sheet right onto where I want the vinyl to be. I then try to pull the vinyl up and over the edge of the tumbler. It turns out that I was using a dull blade for this, and so it ended up making my vinyl cut a little jagged. And so instead of leaving a jagged line like that, I went ahead and I used my cup edging tool to cut the vinyl to make it so that it was straight and didn't have any jagged edges. I'm adjusting my cup edging tool so that it is on the lowest possible setting. I don't want a lot of vinyl taken off of my cup, but I do want to make sure that my edges are straight and that there is not any jagged edges. And of course, the cup edging tool did not cut all the way through my vinyl when I ran the blade across it. So I had to use my knife to cut just a small piece off to make sure that that was a straight edge. I am now placing this blue painter's tape anywhere that I see my vinyl. I am going to next be painting my cup a rose color, and I want to make sure that I protect my vinyl so that I don't get any paint on the vinyl. When you are taping, you just want to make sure that you're covering up the vinyl as close to that tumbler line as possible. You also want to make sure that you cut off any of the tape that you accidentally or that hangs over the edge onto your tumbler. I then take this Arteza acrylic paint in the color rose, and I paint anywhere that the silver, the raw cup, is showing. I set my cup aside for 30 to 45 minutes until the paint is completely dry. Once the paint is dry, I'm going to use my Crystal glitter glue and the color raspberry from the glitter Chimp in order to adhere my glitter. I'm going to take my glitter glue and I'm going to spread it anywhere that I see the rose colored paint. Once that glitter glue is on the rose colored paint, I will then sprinkle the color raspberry glitter all over the tumbler. After I have a good coverage of my glitter, I am then going to put my glitter back in my shaker bottle, and I am going to peel off the tape immediately. I do not want this tape to adhere to the cup because of the glitter glue. Just in case I got any of the glitter glue on this tape, I want to make sure that I'm able to peel it up without damaging my vinyl. When I was peeling my tape, I noticed that there were some spots like this where I accidentally put the tape too far over onto the cup. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting a little dab of my glitter glue on, and I am going to spread it around, and then I'm going to adhere my glitter back onto my tumbler. I want to make sure that I have full coverage, and this ensures that I don't have any bald spot in my glitter. I then let this portion dry for the next 2 hours, and I then will come back and I will use my glitter glue in order to seal my cup. Here I am just making sure that I am getting all of the glitter off of the vinyl that may have traveled on there while I was using my glue and my glitter. Here I am using the glitter glue in order to seal my vinyl. I am just squirting a good amount of glitter glue onto my glitter, and I'm using a paintbrush to mash the glitter glue into the glitter. I really do not want this glitter to travel at all, so I am going to make sure that I seal this really well. I prefer to use my glitter glue to do this. Some people prefer to use a spray sealer. Either way, you can't go wrong. You just want to make sure that you seal your glitter in order for it not to travel on top of your vinyl whenever you're doing your layers of epoxy. After all of the glitter is covered in that glitter glue, I set my tumbler aside to dry for 2 hours before I put on a layer of epoxy. Here I use the Flynn Sisters Artist Cure Epoxy to put a layer of epoxy onto this tumbler. I first mix up my epoxy, and then I go ahead and as I'm putting my gloves on, I let the bubbles rise to the top of the cup that I am mixing my epoxy in. Once I let the bubbles rise to the top as I'm putting my gloves on, I then use my torch and I just very quickly blow my torch onto the epoxy just to try to make sure that I pop as many bubbles as I possibly can before I put a layer of epoxy onto my tumbler. Once I get all of the epoxy onto my tumbler, I then use my torch on my tumbler in order to get the rest of the bubbles that may be in the epoxy out. I am so sorry that my dog just barked, but he is wanting to go outside, and so he is barking at me. I then want to take my tumbler and I want to clean it up. I want to make sure that it is really soft and smooth so that this is the last layer of epoxy that I have to put on my tumbler. So I'm just taking my 180 grit sanding block and I am smoothing it out. I am concentrating on the rims of the cup, and I am also concentrating on anywhere that I feel big bumps or any bump at all. I then take my craft knife and rub it around or scrape it around the rim of the cup in order to get the extra epoxy off of the top. After I'm done cleaning it up, I then take it to my sink and I use dish soap and water to clean all of that epoxy dust off of it. I will then bring it back to my craft room and I will put a layer of vinyl on this, on where the glitter and the vinyl meet up. I made these little strips a long time ago. They're 0.07 strips of vinyl, and I am just going to line them between the vinyl and the glitter. At this point, I tried to cut that piece of vinyl and I realized my blade is still so dull. Apparently I never changed it from the beginning of the cup when I was trying to cut it initially. So here I am changing the blade out so that I can actually get a good cut on these vinyl stripes. So once I get a new blade onto my craft knife, I then continue to go around the cup and I use these vinyl stripes in order to stripe out my vinyl. Once I put the striping on my vinyl, I noticed that that little piece right there started to stick up. So that was an indication that I needed to take my Crystal-Lac glitter glue and go all around my vinyl right where that striping is and seal my striping down to my cup. I don't want this vinyl to lift up during the epoxy process. So this is just the easiest way to ensure that the vinyl does not come up and get epoxy underneath it. after the 2 hours of letting my Crystal glitter glue dry, I go ahead and I mix up some more epoxy, and I do the same procedure as before. As I'm putting my gloves on, I let those bubbles rise to the top. I then take my torch and I pop the bubbles that are in the cup with mixed epoxy. After I do that, I then pour my epoxy onto my cup and I spread it around all over the cup to ensure that I encase the entire cup in epoxy. And here's the final tumbler. Even though I didn't line up the vinyl perfectly correct at the very beginning of this video, I still think that this tumbler turned out absolutely beautiful, and I can't wait to see what you think. So below, please comment and tell me if you like it. Also, let me know if you try to make this on your own. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. You can connect with me on social media with Facebook and Instagram, and you can also send me an email. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. But now it's time for you to watch the video that's suggested for you on the screen. Have a great day. Bye.